Hey, my name's Shane. I'm a comedian, and I've got a whole bunch of comedians and psychics to use remote viewing to try to find psychic answers for real world problems. Just the kind of podcast that you want to watch. Remote viewing, for those who don't know what it is, it's a thing that the CIA used to do apparently during the Cold War to spy on the Soviet Union, where they would give psychic spies these random numbers that they didn't know what the target was, and the target number was associated with a target the government wanted these spies to learn about, and then they'll just look at the numbers and then come up with stuff. And Jimmy Carter, the president of the United States, said that it worked for sometimes, but it was inconsistent. And I'm a skeptical person. I know that I don't look like I'm very discerning, but I am. A lot of kind of funky, wacky beliefs exploit this little error in our cognition. Like I remember years ago, me and my girlfriend at the time were in Nimbin, the home of the causality illusion. We went into a herbal store thing, and there was like a sexual lubricant that was advertised as having special aphrodisiacs guaranteed to make you and your partner aroused. But I'm pretty sure through the process of rubbing your partner's genitals and your own genitals, you would feel aroused anyway. Just be, oh my God, honey, it's working. It must be the herbs. These herbs are working their magic so well. That said, I've been with people when they've had these remote viewing targets and they've gotten the answers correct, like spot on in a weird way. So maybe there's some merit in it. And so we did this podcast with some remote viewers and some psychics, and there was definitely some collaboration with the different answers, even though they had no idea what the topic was. So it goes for about an hour. I think it's pretty fun and cool, and you might enjoy it. And we hope to do more in the future. Thanks.
So, hello, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Remote Viewing with comedians and psychics and remote viewers. The name is to be decided, to be worked on. And my name's Shane, and I've been doing comedy for a long time. And naturally, after you do it long enough, you end up getting into remote viewing. So the idea of this podcast is we've given a whole bunch of people remote viewing targets, and we're trying to see if that data corroborates. And so let me introduce everyone. We have Sean Smith, who is a comedian who recently had a psychotic episode. Say hello, Sean.
Hello, everyone. I'm all good.
We have Jess Pearman from Melbourne, who's a comedian who's astro traveled in Paris, apparently. Hello, Jess.
How are you? How are we all?
Hi, Jess.
Wonderful.
Hi.
We have Rhonda Kelly, who's been doing psychic medium stuff for a long time. Hello, Rhonda.
Hello. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. And then we have Matt Manna. Is that how you say the last name there, Matt?
Yeah.
And so Matt has a very keen interest and understanding of the sort of remote viewing subculture. So Matt, could you maybe introduce yourself to all these guys and explain a bit about what you've been up to?
Yeah, as Shane said, my name's Matt. I live in the United States on the East Coast, and I run a remote viewing research and practice platform, right? I develop technology for remote viewers. I get a bunch of crazy people who think that they're psychic to essentially come on, do some remote viewing sessions, and I try to see if there's any statistical effect to it.
So Matt runs like a website. When people do the remote viewing stuff, they're trying to pull a bunch of data to see how accurate people are. And so, Matt, have you had any interesting results so far?
Yeah, my platform has been out for around 6 weeks. I got over 1,000 remote viewing sessions. And so far, I think the up-to-date number is the average results are 2.7% better than chance.
Wow.
I like them odds.
They're terrible odds, but when you have 1,000 sessions, that means something.
And okay, that's interesting. And is there any individuals that seem to get really high hits? I think you were telling me the other day that obviously people seem to have different abilities with this stuff in terms of their success rate as people get better or whatever.
Yeah, some people are really bad and some people are really good. And it's really cool because I've gotten a couple remote viewers from other remote viewing platforms who do really well on the other platforms. And then they come over to my platform and they still do really well on my platform too. So there's a level of consistency.
That's interesting. And what about yourself, Matt? How do you go with the remote viewing?
Yeah, so I historically considered myself a really terrible remote viewer. And we don't need to get into all the details now, but I had a very interesting spiritual experience a couple of weeks ago. And for about a week after, I got very good at remote viewing. There was an afterglow effect, and I had great results, great consistency. And then the afterglow went away, and now I'm terrible at remote viewing again.
Cool.
Why does that life in general, it just teases you with something new and then goes, oh, this isn't the real you. I was just giving you an experience. Bye.
Yeah, this stuff
like
goes
when
to
you
fuel.
think you've met the love of your life, and then you're in the honeymoon.
You remotely viewed your lovely life.
Every
Yeah.
weekend.
I've got an abusive relationship with remote viewing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Cara.
Hello, good morning. How are you all?
Hey.
Hi.
Hello, this is Cara.
Yeah,
We've already done the intros, Cara. We can't do it again. You're going to
Yeah,
have to
okay.
not know everyone.
all right. I'll just use my abilities.
Yeah,
So,
you're just going to have to remote view who everyone is.
Yeah, I just want to know, do you want me to not come in because it's interrupting, or do you want me to
No,
join?
you're welcome. So Cara is
cool.
a comedian from Brisbane
Yeah.
who's agreed to do this little thing. And Sean and Jess are comedians. And Matt does remote viewing stuff and IT stuff in America. And Rhonda is a psychic medium. Where's Rhonda? She's still here?
Here I am. Yeah, I'm still here.
Hi,
Oh,
Rhonda.
okay.
I'm
Awesome.
Jess.
What do you reckon? Shall we go through what people thought target one was?
Yes,
Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Awesome.
So I thought target one was an airplane flying above the clouds.
Yeah.
And it was a domestic flight carrying businessmen while the flight and it's like really like it's like a busy and calm vibe because while you're in the airplane, you can't really go anywhere. So you just got to sit there and be calm. And then, but they're busy because they're businessmen going on a domestic business flight.
Okay, that's interesting. They can't be that successful if they're on a
Tell by the
domestic
look
flight.
on your face that I'm wrong.
I was about to say, I feel like I don't like the men. Does that matter?
Mine, because mine's quite funny. But
No, what I was going to say, Sean, is we'll reveal the target later. But what I was going to say is, I guess you could really bend what the answer is by saying that's a metaphor. Who would like to go next?
yeah, if I can go next, following up from that. It's
Awesome.
interesting because I could smell sulfur. So unless the businessmen have been letting off in the plane.
Farts in a tube.
Yeah, that's it. My gut feeling was fast. It was super speed, and I felt like I was in water, and it felt like a movable mass in water. But what I kept getting was as above and so below. It just felt, and I actually felt like I flew to Perth and then I went up, so I felt like I was in the Indian Ocean. But it just felt like I couldn't tell whether I was up or below, but I felt what was above was also below, and that's what I drew with that. So that's the middle map going a third, and then I felt like the Indian Ocean was split in thirds, but that's what I got as above and so below.
Okay, that's intriguing.
And smelt sulfur as well.
Interesting. And what did you associate sulfur smelling with? Anything?
Well, I couldn't make sense of it because sulfur is normally something either rotten egg gas or something decomposing. But in the ocean, that's normally near the shoreline. But I felt like I was smack bang in that third across, third up. So that was really interesting. I couldn't place the sulfur.
That's interesting.
And I couldn't pick the height.
Was that the main one you got for the target one?
Yeah, that's the main one I got. I also had some physical pain. I had a sore neck and upper and lower back, and my fingernails felt like they were burning, so that was a bit odd. And I also saw letters and runes like a different language, almost like a hieroglyphs, but like a Nordic runes. So I don't know, it's in the Indian Ocean, but they're the other things I felt and heard.
Thanks so much for that, Rhonda.
It sounds like where astral travelers go to die. Burning fingernails, it's like you went to a place of where criminals go to process their karma after they die.
Yeah, I seemed to fit in. I felt for an instant uncomfortable, but I didn't feel unsafe. I didn't feel a bad thing. I just felt like it was something unexplainable that we can't quantify or explain.
Wow. Was that it for target one, Rhonda? Shall we move on to the next
Sure.
person?
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
it. Thanks.
All right, Jess, what did you get?
I got a cold sensation and the word snow popped into my head. I also understand that could have been interference because I've been watching people on YouTube play StarCraft and one of the players was called Snow and I was really hoping that his name didn't pop into my brain. I
That's
accept
so
that
funny, Jess. We got so much in common. We're like the only two people I know that watch people play StarCraft.
I love it. It's relaxing. I'll
It's
watch
so
it.
relaxing.
Listen to it. It's good. Yeah, Artosis Cast. He's my
Yeah,
guy.
same. I also watched that. We have the same type of autism.
Yeah. And I got the cold sensation and then snow. And then because I don't know about a lot of places that have snow, my brain said either Everest, because I got the idea of peaks and stuff. And then I thought, what was interesting, Sean, when you said the aeroplanes, I felt like I could see how, because they say, do you see any lines or whatnot? So I felt like I could see lines. And then when you said the aeroplane, that made sense. So anyway, that's irrelevant. Either Yakutsk, the coldest place on earth where people live,
Ooh.
they're crazy, or Everest. So I definitely got a cold sensation. And then I thought of sunglasses and I thought they could be snow goggles. It could be where people ski. So yeah, that's my
Okay, sweet. What about you, Cara? What did you get?
I thought it was the Coles in southeast Brisbane in the checkout area. And I
You
felt
thought it was
annoyed.
cold?
Yeah.
The coldest place emotionally.
I just thought it was, I felt irritated.
You felt
that I was,
irritated.
yeah, like just having to be in the checkout line at Coles.
Wow. Anything else?
Yeah, not really, just more, it was a small one and it was a bit dusty and dank. So not one of the big ones.
Okay.
Like I
Like a
thought with
small shitty Coles.
yeah, just a small shitty Coles and it was just annoying. Not annoying to do the thing, just that I was annoyed in the checkout line because I was probably real busy and have to shop at the last minute or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
Yep.
interesting.
I thought the other ones, if you put them together, it sounds like maybe not the. It sounds with all of the rest of them. If you put them on an aeroplane, it sounds like the flight attendant is on an aeroplane with Sean's one, and then Rhonda, like you're in business class, and it usually really stinks up because there's only one toilet up the front of the plane, so the sulfur smell. And if you're flying over the Indian Ocean,
Cara's
that-
worked on aeroplanes many
yeah, you're all
times.
just describing that, and maybe with the cold place too. It's pretty cold up there, minus 53 outside the plane.
There you go. Was that all you got for target one, Cara?
Yeah.
Awesome. And Matt, how did you go?
Yeah, so
Now
I didn't
that you're in a post honeymoon period with remote viewing.
So yeah, I didn't do it because of that. I didn't want to screw up or give you bad results. So I had a couple remote viewer friends of mine do it. And I actually, so this is the first target you sent me that we're going over, right?
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Okay,
Target
so
one.
I'm gonna send in the chat if you want to look at it. This is what he had, and if you look at the second slide, it's very funny. He got something about people working in front of a big window, feels of openness, altitude being high up, people working outside a window shape, and they're wearing something to designate their responsibility. And in the analytical overlay section, which is basically him making concrete guesses about what he thinks it is, one of his like 4 was airport.
Wow.
Oh. What were some of the other ones he said?
High visibility, vast, window washers, airport tower.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I forget who, but someone said it looked like there were business people on the plane. The guy, his name is Craig Signals, who did this session. He said it feels like they're wearing something that designates their responsibility. So some sort of a uniform. So it jives with that.
That's interesting, huh?
we might.
Yeah, remote viewing's cool.
A lot of there's a bit of an overlap between all of these
A lot of
guesses,
overlap.
but we'll get into how we can confirmation bias our way into thinking we all had the same stuff in a second. Was there anything else that remote viewer said?
About that session, no.
Oh, okay. And did you say you had another guy look at it?
Yeah, I had another guy do the second target that you sent.
Oh, okay. You just gave one to each.
Yeah, that's it for that target.
Awesome. So one of my little schemes was I thought it would be good down the line so the targets that I chose, I tried to do ones that were trying to find like solutions for social problems rather than doing remote viewing for typical things like maybe common things are like the price of Bitcoin or what's underneath the pyramids of Giza or what's going to happen in 3 months as common targets people tend to choose online. But I thought, is it possible to see the answers to how to prevent human catastrophes or how to have some sort of social good, right? Rather than just passively, because like doom scrolling, when you're in bed and you're just like looking at every horrible news story, it seems like people are using this remote viewing to just do a very complicated version of that, right?
Remote
And
viewing.
so, sorry?
I was just going to say, it sounds like what you're developing. Terence McKenna would have heaps of mushrooms and then ask the mushrooms solutions to various problems. This is like the
Oh,
strain for ex-addicts. Whereas, do you still want to be able to look into the future, but you don't take mushrooms anymore? Come and learn how to remote view solutions.
right. This is the Sober Terrace McKenna
Yeah.
podcast. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a good name for it. The Sober Terrace McKenna podcast. The pretty, that would appeal to a very niche demographic, but probably everyone who would be interested in this. Okay, that's really interesting, guys. So I did have an idea. And this is a bit of a draft of one-off of seeing how these podcasts go. So I really appreciate everyone's time. Down the line, I thought it might be good to do a thing called iterative remote viewing, where you try to have multiple sort of data compiling for the one target to, because a lot of the answers are like quite vague and symbolic, but then if you had multiple ones over the same thing, you might get something more specific. That was an experiment I thought would be fun to run. But because this is the first one or whatever, I think it would be funner to reveal the target.
What's the
Yeah,
target? Just fucking tell us.
All right. Okay. Ready, guys? The target was, what is the specific point at which human organizations begin to decay into corruption and bureaucracy? And what intervention at that point would prevent it? Which is a very Shane Hunter target.
Sulfur decay.
Yeah. And you guys also had like a lot of business stuff kept coming up for people.
Yeah, our
But-
answer might have been, I feel like our answer might have been not to globalize, right? We all get a bunch of airplane stuff. It's as soon as the world globalizes, like shit starts to hit the fan.
Wow, that's
Interesting.
that's very in vogue at the moment, isn't it?
Sorry, I didn't hear that because there was noise in the background. So your one was innovative. What was it?
No, the target was, what is the specific point at which human organizations begin to decay into corruption and bureaucracy? And what intervention at that point would prevent it?
My one with businessmen in the airplane is maybe all the businessmen would hide up in the sky
So
to get away from the humans who have finally decided to conquer them and eat the rich.
It could have been it could have been the Lolita Express.
As soon as business people start going to private islands, that's when, as soon as there's a pedophile cult, that's the point of intervention you need to go to stop bureaucracy becoming corrupt.
I reckon the Coles ones, when they ask you that question, do you want to donate $1.42 or whatever to charity?
Yeah, when they put their social burden onto you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
mean, they're not even donating that.
And Cara saw a broken down Coles shop. So maybe that's showing like the end of capitalism with the broken down corporate industry that is Coles.
Yeah.
Or the monopoly.
Maybe, Shannon, maybe you're just fucking psychotic and crazy.
We all are.
Or maybe it's how far I've come as a checkout chick.
One of the things that you guys all had is you all had this altitude height thing going on. You all had that going on. And Rhonda, you had a above and below thing,
Above
which
and
is
below.
I guess that's a kind of macro and micro thing, which is relevant to that kind of stuff. You also had this decay feeling going on. You guys, Kara's sort of answer was like being frustrated with the bureaucratic process. And what was Matt's answer again?
It was a bunch of stuff about an airport or an airport, people
that's right,
in
you
front
had
of
the friend do it.
windows, informal attire.
Yeah, so you had the kind of businessy stuff. That's very interesting, guys. What do you guys think of all those answers? It doesn't give us a clear indication of what point things begin to decay, but it's, I guess, airports.
Yeah, that's my guess. I'm gonna go with the Lolita Express.
Okay, we're locking that in.
That's my guess.
All right. So I guess the lesson, what we could do is the solution is as soon as organizations start organizing mass pedophilia, then we know they're corrupt. I think that's a pretty obvious warning sign anyway.
Yeah, that's
But,
reasonable.
That's a reasonable. I think they've gone too far. Not many people are like, nah. I think we can still trust them. Shall we move on to target 2 then?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or awesome. Who would like to go first for target 2?
I'll go first and we'll go in the same order.
All right.
All right. So even though now we know what your aim for it is, mine feels like it's going to be wrong. But so I got like a baseball game, and it's like a really hot day, and there's lots of people cheering like in the back thing, and there's an American flag, and the baseball game, and it's baseball game in the USA, and the energy is exciting with anticipation. And yeah, there's a guy with a baseball cap, and it's been played on a big grass field, and everyone's happy and cheering on. And then there's like a fast energy because the baseball goes really fast, so he's smashing the baseball. And that's what I got.
That's interesting.
Is it right?
I don't know. It's not. It might be in a weird metaphorical way, but I don't know. We can come back to it and discuss it. Rhonda, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing I felt was a bit anxious. I felt a foreboding. I also felt like I was in a sort of a sticky texture, like almost, and it felt void of color. So I saw black and white and I saw pixelated. So I felt like I was in a sticky texture and I couldn't. So I felt like I was inside whatever the object was. And that's what I do with remote viewing. When I find pets or lost objects, I either see it or I feel like I am the object or the pet. So that's how I do remote viewing anyway. I also I couldn't fathom the magnitude or the size of it, and it was half of something or one-sided. I couldn't see. It was like a shimmery sort of thing. But then when
Something was like one-sided.
so it was something. It was like so I felt like I was in whatever the object was. But then I felt like it was one-sided. It was half of something, and then after I got that, I went out of the object. Yeah. So the sticky texture around me, and it was cold, but not closer. It was the closer I was to the object, I felt cold, and then I moved into the sticky texture. It felt like it was something important, and it was like a hidden place, but a conflict. And what I got then shown, I saw the object as Hope Diamond, as in it's cursed. People don't want it, but people want it because it's valuable and it's shiny and pretty and all the rest of it. And then from that, I got a glimpse of caves where it's from. But that's what I got shown. That's what I drew for. So the lines are the sort of like the sticky object, and then there's the diamond. So I felt like I zoomed into the diamond, and then I was around it.
And you called it Hope Diamond, is that right?
Yeah, that's the only sort of thing I felt was.
I'm not familiar with that.
It was a diamond, I think, owned by Elizabeth Taylor. I don't know much about it, but it was as in something really valuable. Like there's effort, there's stickiness to get to it, and you get it, and you don't want it because there's a responsibility or there's a curse or an obligation. You don't want it.
Okay, so it's something that like is valuable, but then once you got it, it's a burden or something.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was the sort of concept you're getting from the stuff.
Yeah, and with the devoid of colour and my eyesight changes, that felt to me like I either couldn't see it or you be careful what you want, because when you get it, you don't want it. Like you're not seeing it. It's almost a bit of spiritual protection in not seeing it.
A bit of spiritual protection, not seeing it.
In not seeing it, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Anything else you get with that one?
No, that was pretty much it. And it just felt like void of colour until I got to it.
Oh, well, and then when you got to it, there was colour.
And then I saw the shininess and I saw the attractiveness of it, but I also felt cold and I felt like I wanted to distance myself from it.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So shall we move on then?
Sure. Yeah.
Jess, would you like to share what you got with target 2?
I saw round things, and then I saw the sun, and then I think this is all, what is it, intentional overlay? Is that the term?
Yeah, when you start analysing what the impressions you're getting.
Yeah, I got I got the feeling of history repeating itself, and I felt like it was some sort of I saw a bike in and then I was thinking about it, and then I think, hang on, no, it's not a bike, it's cycles. So I
Cycle.
felt like we were at some sort of situation where, and it wasn't a good situation. It was like climate change coming to a head or an apocalyptic situation, but it had happened before. So
Oh,
you know how we've had 7 human civilizations and we've all become near extinct, and then all the smart ones die and then the dumb ones prevail, and then we kill each other with war again, and that happens again. It felt like it was just one of those cycles coming to a head.
right.
Yeah, and
Right.
like that feeling of deja vu or memory going, why don't we remember we've done this before?
So it was a very 2026 vibe.
See, it's only the 1st of Feb. It doesn't feel like that yet, but that's because I don't watch.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's yet. Hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. What, any other impressions or whatever you got from that one?
It would just heat. I can see the sun. I can see the sun, but then that it seems like a strong visual though, which is anti-intuitive when it comes to remote viewing. Apparently strong visuals should be ignored. They should be written down so they get out of your brain.
Oh,
Which is hard because if it's not a strong visual, like what else do you go by? The little shitty little side thoughts that you have that don't make any sense. So it's
so
like trying to work through counter intuition and your brain trying to actually know the answer and confabulating stuff and whatever. But
it's a little bit like comedy writing. It's often the
Oh,
shitty little side thoughts that are
yeah,
worth exploring.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, history repeats
Wow.
itself, some sort of apocalyptic or
An apocalyptic cycle. That's
cycle of some description. Yeah.
interesting. Was that all you got for target 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or awesome. Cara, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. So it was nighttime and it was very dark, and I had a feeling of fear and apprehension, and it was a desert, and it had this sort of those plateau things, those flat rock things. And but the weird part about this one is there were some parts of it that were blacked out, and it was like my brain doesn't want to look at some of it. It just doesn't want to acknowledge some bits of it. But and then there was maybe like spider scorpions and things like that around.
So not a happy vibe.
That was just, yeah, scary. And there was nothing there that was scary. Like when I say the snakes, and they're just little things that were present, but I didn't know what was scary about it.
Okay. Anything else you got with that one?
Oh, just that it was really dark, so there's not much light around.
Okay. Interesting. Cheers. Matt, would you like to share what your guys came up with?
Yeah, so the guy who I tasked with this got a sense of a specific or like a one piece of infrastructure that exists in a larger open area. They described the piece of infrastructure as concrete, gray colored, and they emphasized the fact that it wasn't in a city. It was almost like a standalone piece of infrastructure. And as for the use of this, they described it as very useful and or important, specifically with a scientific or a technological bend to it. The immediate thing that I think of analytical overlay is some sort of a lab or some sort of an academic building or something like that. In terms of an emotional connotation or what was happening in the building, but beyond it just being technological or scientific, they didn't get anything.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting. Should I reveal the target?
Definitely.
Okay. So target 2 was, what should we, a small group who now understands this decay point and intervention, specifically do to have the maximum impact on how society organizes itself?
Wow.
Play baseball.
So we all got to play baseball.
Do you want the
We're in
responsibility?
the desert.
Can you give some
Whoa.
feedback on the targets? They're really fucking hard. Can we just start with little and then work our way up to deep?
Yeah,
So
that was just a
fundamental
shame.
It definitely could have been simpler. In the future, I'll try to have more simple ones, but I thought part of the fun of the experiment was to see how, obviously a lot of you guys are newer to this protocol, but just going for, I guess, if a time traveler was here or whatever, or I don't know, the most useful thing would be to know how a small group could influence a larger sort of bureaucratic, larger macrocosm system that's become corrupt. How do you deal with that? Does seem
how
like a useful thing.
How would someone visualize an answer though? So what is your so let's just say one of us was between 60 and 80% correct. How
Yeah.
do you think that such a concept would be described by one of us?
No idea.
Right.
Yeah, so how do you measure it? How do you
Yeah.
quantify it or measure it?
I don't know how well. I'm open to suggestions on how a questions
Well, I
could
think
be.
the last thing we should do is cheer on the USA right now, which is what my picture was about.
No, but maybe it was interesting because there was a small group, right? So it seems
No, it was a
like
baseball game, and it was a game, and there were people cheering on the baseball player, and it was in the USA, and there was a hot day.
Didn't Trump announce he was going to do some games?
Did he?
Yeah, like a big games thing.
Got his
Like
hair in the field.
Because also the word I got when I got it for the first time was Yankee.
yeah, right.
certainly the big thing at the moment is America seems to be going through a lot of crises right now, which then causes crises for every other country, basically.
Or your answer, Sean, could be it doesn't matter what we do because the Americans have fucked it.
Yeah.
Trump's a bit of a
Gonna
catalyst.
Oh,
Sorry,
Matt, I
Bronx,
know you've
man.
been involved.
We'll just play baseball through the nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah.
No matter how bad things get, we just got to play baseball. And what was your answer? And how do you think it might relate to Target 2, Jess?
My answer, oh
Yeah.
yeah, the history repeating itself or whatever.
That's interesting because it was about
Yeah, your one was really right on because that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I had see, even where are my words? Shane, you did say that you were going to be thinking about doing targets that are solutions to things. And it didn't click with me. That's what it would be about, which is probably why the things that I wrote down and the pictures that I drew were so confusing.
I think with the remote viewing stuff, it often is confusing. But you did have the theme of like cycle and decay and society organizing itself. You had that theme.
Oh, just the whole we've been here before feeling. And still, it's like I can see why people feel powerless because even if I was to present, let's just say that I got that, one of us got that correct and we had a solution or we had an answer to your question. Is anyone going to listen to it anyway? Because humans have been notoriously ignoring evidence for millennia.
Well, that sort of theme came up a little bit in Rhonda and Kara's answer, where there was
Yeah.
this sort of foreboding feeling about the target.
Yeah, the sticky feeling of these things not going away.
I wondered
But
if
also,
I wondered if Rhonda's in mind there was coming up with a solution, but the solution's not great. It's going to be something bad that hurts people,
Yeah.
maybe, or something.
And no one wants it. You know, it has to be done, but no one wants to do it. No one wants to take responsibility for it.
yeah, that's the thing. It's who wants to like put their life on hold for some sort of vague. Right now, there's so many people protesting, and when I was younger, I was like into that protesting stuff. But does that even do anything? Does you want to put your life on hold to scream in the street and maybe have no impact anyway? But yeah, so that was did Kara and Rhonda, do you guys want to comment a little bit more on your answers as it may relate to Target 2?
I wondered if the bits blacked out of mine are the thing that has to be done, but it might be something really bad that I wouldn't want to do, some act of war or something that is one of those has to be done, but it to have a solution, because it was also mine was
The
so
Great
dark.
Purge.
Yeah, there was some despair moment, like anxiety anyway.
I like
Um,
they mentally redacted out the things though that you couldn't handle. You might be able to see them in the future, but for
Yeah,
now, you
definitely.
go, nah, can't handle this. Not seeing it. Sorry. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's protecting.
Yeah.
And I literally I couldn't see my vision change. So whenever that happens during psychic reading or a mediumship, or mediumship could be because someone was blind or whatever. But if a psychic reading, you're not seeing what's right in front of you. So it's people, and with your example of protesting, Shane, it's someone who's really motivated about doing that, but they're not seeing the bigger picture, or they're so focused on one thing, they're not focusing on a solution of something else. So everyone's on their own path of what they're seeing, but they're not necessarily seeing what needs to be done.
Yeah, and it's interesting the thing you said about the diamond, about not wanting it or whatever.
Yeah, not wanting it. So is the diamond the solution? The
Yeah,
thing that has to be done that no one wants to do or no one wants to face it.
and that's very interesting. Any other comments to that, or should we ask Matt to comment on what his guy came up with?
I think the diamond is the chip that's going to be our AI overlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my guy getting a sense of something technological or scientific, like in the, if you look at that in the context of what
Did he say technology, or did he say,
yeah,
because you said infrastructure?
yeah, it was infrastructure, but the purpose of the infrastructure was like technological development or scientific development.
Oh.
So some sort of an academic building or some sort of a government building studying a certain thing. Yeah, I think if you look at that metaphorically, it definitely could line up with what the rest of you guys were getting in terms of something that needs to be done, but maybe is difficult or no one wants to do it.
Sounds like
Yeah,
we're gonna have to
yeah,
make a weapon of some kind.
Matt, why did you feel that your infrastructure was isolated or wasn't in a city?
So this was,
Oh, this was
I didn't do this session. This was, I tasked
Yeah.
one of my remote viewer friends with
so
doing.
Matt's
So what's your take on that?
subcontracted this out to other remote viewers.
It's very remote. It's remote view.
He put it on Airtasker.
A double remote.
It sounds like your friend, the concept of it was they were, God, it's technology related, but if it's isolated, it's not involved with the government. It's almost like a civilian is coming up with solutions or
Yeah,
working on something.
it was very physically isolated. Like it just wasn't in a city, I guess was the main thing. It was just surrounded by a lack of other infrastructure. It was a standout building doing this technological or scientific work.
This all sounds like a nuclear holocaust. I'm just going to say it.
We were all thinking it.
This needs to happen, and the cycle needs to start again.
Yeah, this is interesting. This came up in a reading a long time ago, but I got a glimpse of the future with no governments and no borders as such. I don't know how far in advance, but I found that
Does
really
sound like
interesting.
nukes will get you there pretty quick.
Yeah, nukes will get you there.
But that's a bit of a hopeful vision, right?
Just very calm.
Nukes.
I remember ages
Yeah,
ago,
not
Sean was telling me about this podcast she listened to called The Boring Billion Years, so this was when you had multi-cell organisms in the ocean, but it was before animal life invented the asshole, right?
Oh yeah.
So you
Yeah.
just had these sponges that used to shit, they used to eat out of their mouths and then shit out of their mouths, right? And the ocean was like just boring because you just had all these sponges that were just like, and then as soon as the asshole evolved, which ironically we associate with being a bad person, then life exploded and became more competitive and things started eating each other.
How
And Sean was just,
metaphoric.
I know. And Sean was saying, it just sounds so calm, calm billion years of just sponges. And then something evolved an asshole and then it all just kicked off into competition. That boring billion sounds calming, and that's what it would be like if we all nuke ourselves.
Don't see
Let's get back to the boring billion.
Same hole.
Sorry, yes?
I said, don't sea cucumbers still eat shit and fuck with the same hole?
Yeah,
They
do.
haven't updated.
They could be the last sponge left. Maybe the answer is to go back to that.
Yeah, go back to
Maybe human centipede was, never mind.
yeah. Maybe bulimic people are trying to solve the problem. They don't actually have body dysphoria. They're trying to regress to a more peaceful time.
Yeah.
I think there was a Star Trek episode about that.
About bulimic.
No, not politics.
That would be a weird
organisms
episode.
to spiders and centipedes and things. Yeah.
Oh. So this was an interesting session, guys. Matt did task me with one, and I've had a pretty hectic week because I'm getting ready to travel, and I had a family member who was sick, but she's stable, but it's been pretty intense. But I came up with basically with your target, Matt, I could only had time to do one of them, and I was doing it in the green room of a comedy show. So not the most tranquil environment. And basically I came up with like, it had a military theme, and I think I saw like a fortress wall or whatever and a helmet. And I saw some, I don't know, some sort of like maybe what seemed like a reactor, or there was some sort of like thing in the middle, and then energy coming out, and energy being focused in on small point. That's what I got with my one. I don't know if that was.
Was
what
that the first or the second target I sent
That
you?
was the first one.
Okay, you're going to think this is pretty cool. So the first target that I sent you, the task was remote view the closest alien species to Earth. I think you should remote view the UFO, bro.
Maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
If you said military building, that's where the closest alien species would be held. It's getting
Oh,
Area 51.
Mm,
Oh,
yeah.
You're going to have Men
I
in
feel
Black
like
knocking on your
it's
door.
a bit too young.
Earth and humans knew about it, it would be in some government building that would be
Yeah.
under serious military guard. So
Yeah, that's what I got. It's
That's
like
it.
military-based vibes and then
Interesting.
some weird energy thing.
wow.
Not
Wow.
the closest.
So maybe the lesson is, guys, if you're going to remote view, do it in a noisy comedy green room while you're hosting a comedy show and people are asking you when they're on and making inappropriate jokes in the background. Yeah, this was fun, guys. So I think I would like to at least do maybe 6 of these to give it a go. I thought it was quite interesting, some of the answers. How could I rephrase these questions, do you think, to maybe get a more clearer result? Because my interest was to try to do remote viewing to try to get like tangible, practical, like actionable solutions. So, what any tips or thoughts there, guys?
is
Maybe-
it the answer going to be completely different? Or do you think there's a chance that biases or opinions or people's different moral codes are going to come up with different answers unless there's one obvious answer that we can all tap into?
Maybe I
that's-
should
that's
phrase
okay.
every question should just have that as the last sentence. What is the one non-biased thing?
But that's how spirit works. When you do a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, your guides communicate with the guides of the person you're reading, and you pick up on things related to your life experience. For example, I've had suicide in my family, so I get suicide a lot. You can't unbias your life experience because you've lived it. The one thing I'll say from something else you said about what if you're not seeing? Getting spiritual or psychic information, you use all your senses. So, for example, in medical intuition, I use my sense of smell and taste a lot. But it's also you hear things, or sometimes you don't see or you don't hear, or there's a loud distraction while you're doing a reading. So that's all relevant to what's going on. Or I might, for example, be scrolling through looking at my clock and I can't find the clock. I know that the person's got a problem with numbers or timing. So it's all information. You've got to have the confidence of, okay, so that's what I'm getting. I put that out there and I feel that's relevant.
That's interesting because the remote viewer guys that were doing it for the CIA, the way they would do it is they have steps of, okay, what visuals, what like textures, and so they come up with all the different layers of sensory information.
Yeah.
Rhonda, I have a question. When you're doing these
Sure.
medical screenings, if you're trying to screen for something like colon cancer, for example, do you like turn
Mhm.
off the smell and taste, or you just go right in there?
I don't actually put that out there to do that. I do pick up a lot of medical stuff, but for duty of care, I'm not giving medical advice and that.
Oh, okay.
I don't actually think about it that much. I just say, tell me what the person needs to know. And for example, if it's colon cancer, I'll feel like I need to go to the toilet, or I'll have an immense amount of pain, or I might see a person and see blackness there. And I always say, you need to go to a doctor. And I have people that follow up and say, oh, you saved my life. I picked up on cancer. No, you took yourself to the doctor. You saved your life. I've told you that, and you can do what you want with it.
What was one of the biggest hits you had with that, Rhonda?
Yeah, I've picked up on cancer.
What kind of cancer? What did you see or whatever?
There's been a few actually, and it's usually like torso, like breast to cervical, ovary, and colon cancer. It's been mostly in that. Also, the thing I feel people are most grateful for is when I've picked up something to do with their eyesight, and they've had surgery on the eyes, or there's been too much pressure or something like that.
Oh.
But also I can pick up on if you're coming in for a reading. Think of the people that you're the most worried about or considering. I'll often pick up on something connected to that, someone connected to that person. It might be that I'm getting this, I can't explain, I don't feel it's you, but I'm going to leave that with you. If you're concerned about someone, take them to a doctor.
That's awesome.
Cool.
It's specific
Yeah.
and it's not anxiety inducing either, because you are giving people very useful information that they can go
Hopefully.
and, well, yeah. No, that
Yeah,
sounds-
hopefully. And I always say if the pain persists, and particularly for me, if I'm doing a reading and I experience pain, I say if it doesn't belong to me, take it away. And then if I've still got pain, then obviously I go to a doctor. So to make sure it's them. Yeah.
Does anyone have any suggestions for the name of this podcast? Should we call it Confirmation Bias Warriors, or like what? Does anyone have
I'll
any
need some
ideas?
time. I'll send you some ideas. I'm not going to come up with anything in this pod right now, but we will find a fantastic name for it.
Yeah.
All right, I like your enthusiasm.
The remote controllers.
The remote controllers.
How about
Yeah,
the end
that's
of the
nice.
fucking
Just don't call
world?
us the fat controllers. Tell us to take.
Oh yeah. What'd you say, Sean?
How about the end of what to do at the end of the fucking world podcast?
What to do at the end of the fucking
Yeah,
world?
I love that.
Or while the
and does-
world burns podcast.
Does anyone have any ideas on how questions could be phrased in a better way? And then number two, what I would like to do, if you guys are up for it, and I very much appreciate your time, guys, is I would like to maybe we could do 2 targets, right? And I could try to get questions that are a bit easier, but what I would like to do is have maybe a third question, and then we don't reveal what that target is. And then maybe like me and someone analyze the data we get on like a secret podcast away from everyone. And then we come up with another target that we give the next week as the third question, where we try to zero in on that even more.
Yep.
That way, if we do that
that
maybe
sounds
like
good.
3 or 4 times, and we keep iterating the data, maybe by the end of it, we'll get to something like specific or useful.
Yep. 2 new
That sounds
questions.
good.
2 new questions every pod where we do the reveal on the pod, and then the third one you go, what did you come up with this one for this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good way to doing it. And that way, at the end of the 5 more episodes or whatever, then we'll have a big reveal with the secret third one. Ooh. And then we can also upload
Keep people on the
me and
hook.
someone. Sorry?
Keep people on the hook, wanting to
Keep
find
them
out
on the
what
hook.
happens next week. Yeah.
And the next episode, yeah. And then I don't know if you're up for it, Matt, maybe you and I could be the one that analyzes the data for the third one to come up with the next question. Because Matt is interested in the process of remote viewing and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it. Also, one piece of advice when it comes to tasking, in my opinion, from the data that I've seen, you'll yield better results the more tangible and physical your target is. So you can still have metaphorical or ask questions, but if there's a way to phrase it in a way where you're remote viewing like the physical place where it happens, or just trying to make it as tangible as possible, we might see better results.
Well, okay, that's interesting. Was the cure of cancer developed, and what did they do?
Yeah, what did it look like?
Can I
We
ask you a
start with
question, Matt?
simpler stuff, Shane.
Sorry,
I
what,
know-
mate? Jess and then Rhonda?
Should we start with simpler stuff because we've only got one seasoned remote viewer in here?
Maybe what we could do is we could do like one of the questions, and I won't tell you which one, could be a lot more simple.
Yes.
And then we'll have this another target being more complicated.
I would love
Yeah.
that. I would love
That
that.
sounds good.
Target 1,
Yeah.
what is your favorite color?
No, I
Chocolate
don't
from
think
that
where
colour.
the answer is the same.
Objective. Yeah, I get you. I was just joking.
Okay.
And Rhonda, what did you say?
Yeah. Matt, I just wanted to ask your perspective. My feeling with remote viewing, and I'm by no means an expert, but it's that there's no time and space, as in sometimes I've remotely viewed a childhood pet or a trauma from 20 years ago, and I think I'm looking at the same time. So sometimes I have remotely viewed something from a long time ago, or a country that a person's no longer living in. So my feeling is you can't really control time and space when you remotely view. What do you think of that, Matt?
I think that's completely correct. And what's funny, all of the sessions that are done on my site are precognitive remote viewing targets, meaning the correct target isn't even picked until after the user submits their impression. So they're not remote viewing the target in the real world. They're remote viewing their future self looking at the image on the screen.
That's
Yeah, I
fucking
love that.
sick.
Oh,
That-
And
I
it
love
works.
that. Yeah, that's
can
awesome.
here's
Thank you.
something interesting, right? So I was listening to some podcast while driving from the Gold Coast. This is basically what I think I heard on the podcast is a guy who's an anaesthetist, who's interested in this stuff, because with anesthesia, like you knock people out. So you have a lot of case studies where you're playing around with consciousness with the anesthesia. So that's where he got interested in it. But he said that like he's gone to lots of conferences and he's in the academic world, right? And what's happened is like when people were like being studied for some other specific test, they found that a lot of the time people would have neuro firing in their brain before they even see the thing that they're being tested on. In the area that would come up with the answer, it already started like firing and stuff. And then basically someone was going to report that in the academic data and they were told, oh, don't. Basically, he senses that comes up all the time in academia, but they're told to ignore it because it's in the too hard basket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's like Brian Weiss. He, in past life, he was a psychiatrist, I believe, and he took a while before he published his findings, and now he's known as the past life, the world between master of the world between worlds kind of thing.
Can you? I don't know who that is. Can you tell us a bit about who they are and what the?
Brian Weiss. So he found a connection between his past life regressions, and he wrote a book about it. And now he talks about that. He travels the world and he's the expert in past lives, whereas he was from an academic medical background. And
Oh
he,
yeah, I think I
there
have
was a
that
delay.
book.
Yeah, I forget the exact title.
I forget. I have it.
World Between Worlds, Master of.
Yeah, Lives, Many Masters.
Yeah, Many Lives, Many Masters.
Many Lives, Many Masters. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool, guys. Basically, what I was thinking is, I don't know how you guys feel, but I could just whack this up on YouTube or whatever. And maybe if you want, I think some of you have YouTube channels. I can invite you as collaborators if you wanted.
Yeah.
And then I would
Yeah.
be keen to maybe do this again next week at a similar time.
Yeah.
And then try to basically have one simple target, one more complicated target, try to make the questions like more conducive to a specific tangible result rather than as open-ended as they were perhaps. And then have a third target, which will be this sort of ongoing data thing. And then me and Matt will maybe, if you're up for it, Matt, once we finish that podcast, we have another little secret podcast where we discuss that and we don't release it, but we put all those little discussion data things, because that probably only take us like maybe 10 minutes. And then we can upload that as like the secret 6th episode or whatever. And then we record the reveal before we upload that. And then we upload that as the reveal where we discuss it with everyone. Does that sound like a good little plan?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
Cool, guys. Thanks so much for your time. And maybe the other thing we could do is we could, if you're up for it, the comedians involved, I dare you guys to have an additional question about each target of what is funny about that target.
Shane, when you befriend Shane, you learn that he gives you a lot of homework.
Apparently, my Myers-Briggs name for the Myers-Briggs personality test is the commander. I don't know why.
If you're a girl, they'd call you a bossy boots.
I'm a bossy boots.
If you're a girl, they'd call you a bossy boots.
But when men do it, it's
when men do it,
respectable.
It's
yeah,
fine.
you're a commander in chief.
Yeah, wow. Hey, look at him delegating to those women. Thanks so much, guys. Any closing comments? Anything you want to share? Or no pressure.
No, that was really fun and interesting. I understand what it is a bit more now, and I reckon we were all predicting the nuclear apocalypse. And maybe all the people in my one where they were clapping for the USA was just like in North Korea where they have to clap to their masters.
Oh, okay.
And they're like crying and it's a bit over the top.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
I
why I
thought that
focused
was-
on Korea Shane, because I just watched them play
Yeah, I
StarCraft.
thought it was really funny, Sean. that You had
Nuclear apocalypse.
celebrate. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, one at a time.
Cara.
Whoever was speaking.
I've spoken enough. You go, Cara.
Oh,
Kara's cut
There
out.
you go, Jess. It's fine.
Oh, there's Kara.
Oh, that's all right. I was talking about the other thing, but we've moved on.
I think your
Uh.
video is off, Cara. Oh, there you are.
Oh, you got me. Yeah, no, go, Jess.
Yeah.
Oh,
It might be
saying,
the internet.
yeah, it's going in and out now. I think that's the logical end.
Yeah, the internet wants us to go.
All right.
All right, that's awesome, guys. Thanks so much. I'll send you guys some better questions in the next couple of days, and feel free to send me some more targets, Matt, because this week was a busy week, but if I get the target a bit earlier than last time, I'll have more lead time to do that stuff.
I'll do it.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks so much,
Awesome.
guys. And so
Thank
I'll
you.
upload this onto YouTube, and then send me your YouTube accounts, and then I'll invite you guys as collaborators if you want. And if there's anything you said on this podcast that you don't want online or uploaded, let me know as soon as possible, so I can not, I don't know if anyone revealed anything they didn't want, or maybe in their background they had like a picture of their ex or something. I don't know.
All right.
All right, awesome,
Okay,
guys.
thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.